Well, here we are almost 2 years into this channel, and I'm finally gonna make this video. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizardly Reads, and today, guys, we are doing a top 10 video. But before we get into that, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel, as it does help the channel grow. And while you're doing that, make sure to check that description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Joe Discord, as well as links to all my social media, including information about my Patreon. And yeah, like I said, we are about 2 years into this Mamma Jamma, and I still haven't done my top 10 favorite books, which has just been fluctuating wildly. This is not top 10 series. These are my top 10 books, which is incredibly hard. I feel like I'm going to second guess this the minute I turn off the camera, but I've run around, I've selected some books, and like some of my favorites, I was like, oh, those are my favorite authors. And I was like, well, those are really kind of my popcorn reads. Like, those are like my palate cleansers, and like those are what I reach for when I'm like, you know, in a funk and I'm looking for have a good time. But like, these books have stuck with me. Like, these books are special, and I don't think you're gonna guess them all. And one of them is a recent read that I just finished, and oh my goodness. But that said, we've actually, I said top 10, we've gotten 11 because I'm going to do just a permanent placeholder, because I've been saying for the last couple years that The Eye of the World, Wheel of Time, is my favorite book of all time. So we are going to go ahead and slot this into the 0 spot. It's just going to stay there on the honorable mention. It's never coming off of the list. Let's just move on from there. Like, I mean, I'm not going to ever take Wheel of Time off of my list. Even if I stopped liking the Wheel of Time, it's staying at the top of the list, just on top of it. Not quite on the top 10, but, you know, it's just holding that place of honor, because I wouldn't be here without the Wheel of Time. So this is not in any particular order. This is not like a 1 through 10, but because if you're going to make me do that, we're going to be here for a lot longer while I try and justify myself. I just kind of gut reaction. These books just screamed out to me from my shelves. So starting off, we have got Howling Dark by Christopher Rocchio. This is Sun Eater number 2, because Empire Silence was good, but I had a lot of complaints with it. And then, like, I started Howling Dark, and then I DNF'd Howling Dark. And then I was, like, kind of questioning, had I made the correct decision? I was like, you know what? 3 months after I DNF'd it, I was like, you know what? You made a mistake. You were too quick to DNF this thing. Mike is right. I'm pulling the trigger too often. And I'm going to go back and I'm going to reread it. And oh my goodness, this kicked off like just 5 days of nothing but Sun Eater. Like, Hadrian just explodes off the page in this one. Like, he just comes into his own. Christopher Rocchio just reaches out and grabs you. And it's just so compelling, so cool. The ideas that are presented in book 1 are elevated, they're evolved, they're in your face. And then we start getting into the metaphysics of this and just the time jumps. And oh my goodness, I can't wait to continue this series. We just got a huge announcement that he is moving from Daw to Bane Books to put out the last 2 books in the series. And I'm so excited. Next up, we knew Stephen King was going to make an appearance somewhere. And I've been ranting about this book and raving for the last year. That is Stephen King's Needful Things. This book does not get talked about enough. And when I do talk about it, people are like, oh yeah, that was my favorite for years and years and years. And then like 11/22/63 came out, or da-da-da-da-da. I actually prefer this over 11/22/63. And I've read close to about 25 Stephen King novels, and this one is still my absolute darling. It is so good. Leland Gaunt is an absolute menace to society. The way he makes that town of Castle Rock dance for me, dance! It's so good. I love this book so much. It's something special. All right, you know, I mentioned that I just finished a book, and I'm just sitting here going, how is this book this good? And so this is my first book by this author. And that's Janny Wirtz, and you can see right there where I kind of left off on book 1. Cycle of Fire, specifically Storm Warden. Oh my goodness. Like, normally I would want to be, like, caught up on a series if I was doing a top 10 list, but this is my top 10 books. And right now, Storm Warden is just such... It was what I needed. I've been writing this weird sort of burnout lately. And then, like, Storm Warden starts, and the prose is absolutely gorgeous. And then it's like nautical fantasy done really incredibly well. And then it kind of throws in a sci-fi hook like 9 chapters in, and you're like, oh, that's so cool, because this is fantasy sci-fi blend, and it's masterful. And it's funny because I was going on like Amazon, and one of the funniest quotes I saw was from, I believe it's from Stephen R. Donaldson. He was just like, it should be a crime for somebody to be this talented, because Janny Wirtz is in fact that good. And this is just my first experience. I still got the Empire trilogy to ride Hell's Chasm. I wasn't going to read The Wars of Light and Shadow. I'm gonna try it now. I mean, like, I just finished it, and it's just, I'm sitting here in absolute awe. The prose is stunning. I'm just taken on this journey in Storm Warden. It's just like great coming of age. It's like age-old rivalries. It's prophecies. It's just everything you wanted. It's got demons. It's got wizards. I mean, the wizard loves wizards. Shocker! But Storm Warden was so good, and so many people are sleeping on this because they're like, oh, Wars of Light and Shadow is this epic long series. This is a whole trilogy bind-up, guys. And if you've been curious about Janny Wirtz, just start here. Just start here. Okay, I'm gonna stop raving. I'm gonna stop raving about it. It's going up on the shelf. Boom, we've talked about it. Next up is my boy, Anthony Ryan. And if I'm talking Anthony Ryan, it's got to be Bloodsong. This is the Raven Shadow, Book 1, Valen Alsorna. I mean, we've got the battle school, we've got the magic system, we've got the battles, we've got everything. Like, Valen is a BAMF! He is so incredibly cool. He's compelling, he's stoic, he's witty. I love Bloodsong. I actually need to come back and finish this series because there's a follow-up duology, because, of course, Bloodsong is the first book, and then it goes multi-POV in Tower Lord and Queen of Fire. A lot of people don't like that. I didn't mind it, but Bloodsong is where it's at. And if in the, I believe it's the Raven's Blade, I'm going to just take a peek. Yep, the Raven's Blade duology, if that returns to this format, oh yeah, we're here to talk about that, because that's some good stuff. That's special, because I just need to get to it. I've got so much to read, guys. Anyway, next up, we have got The Night Watch by Terry Pratchett. This is Discworld City Watch number 6. Boom! So incredibly good. This is probably the best story I read when I first started BookTube. The City Watch, as just a whole, holds a very special place in my heart. Like, I mean, Sam Vimes, and then there's, like, the magical element. There's the time travel hijinks. There's, dealing with fate and cause and effect and justice and just, I love The Night Watch. This is probably my favorite Terry Pratchett book. And let's see, I've read the 8 of the City Watch. I've read 3 of the Witches books and 5 of the Death books. And this is still my favorite Discworld book. It is that good. So good. Oh, what Sam Vimes goes through in that one. Like, he really just becomes this fully fledged character. Like, don't get me wrong, he's in the other books, and, like, he's, very prevalent in the other books. But here, you really get to know Samuel Vimes. It's so good. And then y'all knew this was going to show up here somewhere. But I'm struggling, because now I'm, like, second-guessing which one. And I just noticed it's got the infamous George R. R. Martin fantasy as it ought to be written quote on the cover. Which one of this trilogy I was going to go with. I'm going to go with Fool's Errand here by Robin Hobb. This is book 1 of the Tawny Man trilogy. Probably my favorite trilogy in the realm of the Elderlings. This book is flawless because we finally come back to Fitz's story after years and years away from him. And what's he been up to? How's he living his life? Is he still a recluse? And then we spend like a good 200 pages, and then he kind of just gets pulled back into the life. He has to come back and kind of just come out of retirement. And it's so good to see how he does that. And then the trials and the tribulations that he goes through, the crap that he has to deal with. Oh, I mean, Fool's Errand is probably, dare I say, it's my favorite Realm of the Outerlings. I mean, the entirety of the Tawny Man is really good. But then, like, is it better than Royal Assassin? Like, I'm gonna say yes. Yes? I don't know. Just out of the Realm of the Outerlings, this is probably my favorite. Next up, we have got, come here, you big beefy boy. We've got Dragon Mage by M.L. Spencer, a self-pub beaut. This was my 2021 book of the year, and it was actually the last book I read in 2021. I kept putting it off because it is a thick old book. Like, it's got some girth. Like, if you hit somebody with it, they's going down. And yeah, what can I say about this book? I mean, what Aram goes through in this book to become a champion and to deal with being different than others. Let's just start off by saying there's great autistic representation. And as somebody who is on the spectrum, that means a whole lot to me. I mean, he just struggles. But, like, friendship means everything to him, and he deals with feelings of inadequacy. Now, don't get me wrong, this does have a couple rough patches, which I do mention in my review. Like, there was just a couple things that I felt could have been tweaked to make it a flawless story. There's, like, a middle section where we've kind of got, like, a magic school, but then we kind of get away from that in part 2. And it's just, I don't know, there's some time jumps and things that go on into here, but overall, I love this book. I mean, it is just so good. You've heard Patrick rave about it. You've heard me rave about it. I'm sure there's a lot of people that I'm forgetting who have raved about it. I know Nico liked it. I think Dominish liked it. Just a ton of people love this book. It's so good. I cannot wait. I believe it's Champion of the Fallen is book 2. I can't wait for book 2. 2022 book of the year. We got Trudy Skies, The Cruel Gods. And I mean, I've mentioned a lot about this. We've got Kale, we've got Quinn, we've got all the different fantasy races, but at the same time, it's got like a clock punk urban fantasy thing going on. We've got all the cruel gods. We've got the manipulation of time and all the powers and just like the lost lore and just everything in this. It's intense. The emotions run high. What Kale has to go through to try and redeem like her lost love is just fantastic. And then like what Quinn's going through is spectacular. Like somebody who can't even deal with his day-to-day, that he just has to keep wiping his memory. Oh my goodness! Like, it's so awesome. This book is really, really good. I can't wait to read. What's the second book called? Because, yeah, The Children of Chaos. Because I always see The Cruel Gods and I was like, yeah, book 2, Cruel Gods. The book has a name, Andrew. The book has a name. Respect the name of the book. Next up, we've got, do I want to choose this one for this series? Because, like, it's one of the ones from this series, and I don't know which one because there's, like, so many great epic moments. But I think the minute that it kicks off in this book is when we know how crazy this series is about to get. So I'm going to do Ghostwater by Will White. Ghostwater, I believe, is book 5? Book 5? Yeah, okay. I've chosen correctly. It's where, like, we've seen Lyndon go through some stuff. He's, met Ethan Aurelius, and he's met Yaren, and he's kind of gone out into the other world. He's left his home. Everything is, like, kicking off for Lyndon. But this is where we really see the power gap and how powerful people can get and how crazy this series is going to ramp up. This is where we get those first hints. We get to meet some, like, favorite characters of mine. I forget his name, but he's a very apathetic character. Like, he just doesn't care about anything. He gets introduced in here. There's just so many great moments in Ghostwater that have far-reaching repercussions all the way through, I think, book 8 and beyond. It's so good. This is probably one of my favorites. But that said, like, Cradle is, like, something, like, just every entry's got something in it. And then the last one, I really had to think, because it was either going to be this or The Nightmare Lands by like Daniel Barnett, and then I couldn't decide between Sleepwalking Lily or this book, and I ended up going with this book. And now like I'm sitting here talking and second guessing. You know, I'm just gonna show you. It's In the Orbit of Sirens by T.A. Bruno A. I love this book. This has got Eliana and Denton. Here we get our introduction. We get introduced to Kamaria. All of these great concepts. We've got like, you know, humanity fleeing the Earth and the Sol system because the evil AI has risen up and they're going to be trying, like they're killing off humanity. We have to flee in order to survive. Like the repercussions and everything that we get in this book has far-reaching consequences throughout the entirety of the series. I absolutely love this book. So as of right now, I am going to say that these are my 10 favorite books that I have read. And there are so many other fantastic books that I haven't mentioned. Legend of Blackjack Bay are with them. I'm not going to do an honorable mentions, but like, I mean, there's just like the R.J. Barker, the Bone Ships. Like there's just so many I want to talk about. This is a top 10. So this is my top 10, and this is what I'm going to have to go with. That said, guys, let me know what you think of some of my picks. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are there some things that you wish had made the list? Please let me know in the comments down below. And as always, till next time, peace out! Stay magical. Bye. And a special thank you to my new patron, Courtney. Thank you so much.